Alright, this is module. Module what? I have to look it up. So while I'm looking this up, I'm going to eat a pretzel with guacamole into the mic and explain what module we're on. This is module 5. Module 5! Alright. In this module, we're going to do links as buttons, add colors to buttons. We're going to do what's known as a table. We're going to add tables, and we're going to create forms. So we're going to add all this into the 2 pages that we've been working on the last couple modules, the Miles Davis webpage and the Roald Dahl webpage. So there's going to be a document on Moodle attached with specific directions. So first, in this module, here is a link. The link is right here. And I'll explain what it is. It's inside of a p tag, meaning paragraph or text. The link is the a ref. The place that it's going to is default ASP. And this is the link is the text. And then this ends the link element, this ends the button element, and this ends the P element. So that is this right here, basically just a paragraph as a link, or a P tag as a link. So we're going to go back. And then, as you see here, a link, a visited, a hover, a active. So if you look up here, when I hover over this HTML button right here that's in the nav bar, it becomes dark gray or black. So when I'm not hovering over it, it's just standard gray. So that is hover. Visited would be if I clicked on a link and then I came back and the link was, instead of blue, it would have been, let's say, red. Okay, active link at the moment is clicked. So that means right here, the CSS is what I'm on right now. That's active. So it is highlighted in green. So that's what the difference is between these. And as you see here, this is the CSS to explain that. So once I hover over this link right here, it turns pink. So otherwise it's green. So visited link, which is what we're on right now, so it's green right here. Unvisited link is red, but that's not in this right now. When you hover over it, it becomes hot pink. And let's say the active, so note hover must come over a link, must come over that. When I click here, when you click it, you see that it turns red, or it turns blue. That means that I've clicked it, and it becomes active. So this is what it looks like in the HTML. Very similar to what we were looking at before. The notes, you don't need to worry about that. This is the same exact as I just showed you. And this is the style, or the CSS right inside. And this stuff right here, this green text, these are notes. These don't actually do anything. They're just information. If you had a whole bunch of code written out, these are very handy. We're going to get into this. These are very helpful in determining what you're looking at. So right here, it's pretty easy to decide. Mouse over link, hover, select the link, etc. So close out of this. Text decoration, let's see what it looks like. Alright, we're not really going to get into this, so I'm just going to skip over that. Background color here. We're not really going to get into that, although this is similar to a button, so I'm just clicking on it. You can make this, it's like a highlight. Take a highlighter on this thing and highlight it. You can also color that, so it says light green background color, hover, active background color, hot pink. So if I click on this, it's going to turn pink like that. I'm going to exit out of this, go back here. Background color is cyan, which is what this is right here. And background color of the link is yellow. So when I click on it, you can't really tell. So this is kind of redundant for this, but anyways, you see how this stuff works. And this is very similar to what we were just looking at. Link buttons, this is what we're going to be doing in this example. I'm going to have some more pretzel with guacamole. It's so good. All right, try it yourself. So this is a link. When I'm not hovering over it, it's red. When I hover over it, it becomes bright red. So that's determined right here. This is the same thing as doing just having two of these. So if I were to copy and paste this, Control C, since it's controlling the same element, which would be A, the same thing would work if I did this. Same exact thing, but doing it this way saves a lot of space. So that's why it looks a little bit different here. Same with up here. So if I click on this, you see that it takes you to a link. So this is a button that is a link. So you're going to be doing a lot of this in the future. You're going to be doing it in this example here. Here is the CSS on how to do it. You can literally just copy and paste that in there. In the directions, it'll say specifically what I want you to do to change this. And the best way to understand how this works is, as in the directions, it'll tell you, is to copy and paste this stuff, and then you'll be changing some of this so you can see what changes are made. So let's change the padding here from 14 to 24, and we can see what change that makes. Click Run. So just made the button bigger. So if I change it to, let's say 12 instead of 14, you'll see that it gets much smaller than it was originally. So that would be the height. Now the width, I can change it, let's say 5 pixels. It will be smaller than the word. Well, it changes at least smaller than it was. And then text align is in the center of the button. Text decoration none. Display inline block, which is what this is here. So I'm going to get out of here. That is a button. And here are more examples of buttons. Stuff that can happen. You can explore this for the future if you want, but I'm never going to ask you to do anything like this. And I'm just going to go through here and click. So this is an outlined. So this would be the inline block. And the border is solid green. Let's change this to blue. Bluey. So, and then when you hover over, it becomes green. Otherwise, the hover is here, green. So that's hover. And then second, it calls active. So that's why this is second here. So it would be white when it's active, which is it's active right now. So you click on this. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. When you click on it, it becomes white. So I'll show you here. Let's change this to pink. When I click on it, it should become pink. The text did. So let's say I want to change this to pink. Okay, so this is pretty self-explanatory. It's very easy to understand, and here's some more stuff with the cursor. We're not going to get into that. You can if you want, but I'll never get into that. And that's basically it for this. So the HTML tables, this is pretty easy, pretty straightforward here. You say HTML tables, and this is going to be in the assignment. I'm going to want you to add the Roald Dahl short stories into a table like this. So in the example, you would say book title, maybe the year it came out, and that's probably it. So there will be 2 sections here. So if I try it yourself here, you'll see what this is actually looking like in terms of the HTML. So I'm going to scroll down here. The table element right here starts with a table, and then in the table here, and then you have the headers. So you have a company, contact, and country. When you're doing the short story, it'll look like this. So it'll say like title, yeah, we'll change it to title, year, and publisher. And then so you have the row here. This is the whole line right here. So this table row. So you start the table row, which is the very first one. and you end the table row here. So at the top, it's the header, so it's styled a little bit differently. The text is bold. You can see up here, this is how it's styled. TH is the header. Let's say here, so you start a new row. So as you see, this is row 1, which is right here. This is row 2, which is right here. Oh, I'm sorry, right here. And then you go on, this is obviously that, and so on. This is pretty self-explanatory. The TR stands for table row, and the TD stands for table cell or table data. So going back here, you have the table row and the data that's inside of that row or the column. And up here is how it's colored. So let's say, let's run that and see what changes it makes. So what this means, we're not really going to get into this in the beginning. We might touch on this at the end of the year, but this is basically just saying every other row is colored red. So, and this is the border. These are the lines that go around the border. It's gray, so if we change it to red, you'll see what it changes or what it looks like here, red. And then the text is sans serif. It's Arial font, and it's just left alone, so it's by default black. That's pretty much table rows for you there. So that's all I want in this next section. Read the directions for how I want you to implement that. And now we're going to get to forms. So this is something you'll see on a contact page, and I'm going to eat some more pretzels with guacamole. Oh, yeah. So this right here is an input form. This is where you might put your email and your name, your first name, or if you're going to a website that is a grocery website, you could put in like what you want to order, and you click submit, and it takes you to a page. So this is basically a button that we just made at the beginning of this lesson. Links as buttons, except it says submit. It's a very basic gray button with a black outline. So if you click on try it yourself, you will see right here it's not styled. Okay, kind of forget what I just said. I don't want to confuse you. We're going to just move on from this. Now going down here, as you see, this is a table just for the website, basic table. Now we have text fields here. So we just did this same thing. So I want you to add a text field, as it says in the directions, to a certain website that we've been working on. And then here are radio buttons. You all are familiar with these. And if you try it yourself, you can now see what this looks like. It's all styled for you. You can style it. We're not really going to style this in the future, so this is good enough for what we're doing. And then if you go down there, also checkboxes. So if you check on try it yourself, you will see basically how that works. And excuse me, again, you will be copying and pasting this in for the next lesson, and you will be changing some of this information here. And once you do that, you will see how it works. So let's say fa 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 fa, and then I'll click run, and you'll see what changes here. It's pretty easy to understand. Okay, this is more. We're not going to change any of this stuff. We're not going to be working with anything that resembles script until the second part of the year, so you can ignore this stuff up here. And that's basically the lesson. So I'm going to stop there.